now from Brisbane. Good morning to you, Gemma.
Good morning.
All right, what is the number one thing women are calling for when it comes to work?
Number one is flexible working, and in fact 3/4 of respondents said they would prioritise flexible working over and above top of the market salary.
That's really interesting. I feel like we all got a bit of a taste of it during COVID and realised how much better it is for our lifestyles. What are the other things that female workers want to prioritise?
Yeah, so coming in second was the prevention or zero tolerance around sexual harassment in the workplace. And number 3 was pay transparency. Now, our Generation Z prioritise these things over and above all other policies. So Generation Z are those born in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And also when it comes to pay transparency, 69% of the respondents said they wouldn't apply for a job if the job ad didn't have the salary displayed on the job ad.
So all of these things that you mentioned, the flexibility, the pay transparency, the action on sexual harassment, all of these are more important for women than their actual salary?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, money is one thing, but if you can't manage your life outside of work, then it's really not very helpful.
No, that's true. Now, we also have seen that there's a new policy that is emerging for the very first time when it comes to women. What can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, this is actually having a menopause policy. So there's an increasing awareness around the impacts of menopause. And at any one time, 25% of our workforce are experiencing menopausal symptoms. Now, what fills me with a lot of optimism around this particular support for women in the workplace is the menopause policy template was the 3rd most downloaded resource within our employer hub last year. So this tells me there's a real intent there by employers to support women.
Do you think this means employers are actually kind of getting with the program and realising that perhaps men and women are a little bit different when it comes to being employees and they need to provide different offerings for them?
Look, I think there's a lot of employers that are getting with the program. Unfortunately, there's still a lot which aren't getting with the program. And, you know, women have said to me that they've raised having menopause support in their workplace, and sort of the executive team has laughed and said, oh, well, we can't say that word around here. So there's still a little bit of a way to go. But like I said, within the WORK180 cohort, we're definitely seeing that progress happening.
What about the gender pay gap? We hear a lot about that. Is it still an issue, and is it a priority for women?
Yes, well, it is still an issue, and what we're going to see on the 27th of February is, of course, that pay gap legislation where companies will need to be transparent around what their pay gaps are. And I think this has really increased the awareness around the pay gap. So 86% of respondents said that they wanted to see what employers were doing to close their gender pay gaps. Now, 56% of respondents said they would still apply for a job with an employer who had a pay gap, as long as that employer had a very clear action plan on how they were going to close it.
So what kind of advice do you have then for women who might be going into a job interview or going into some kind of negotiation at their current job about getting the sort of working arrangements that they would like?
Well, number one, do your research. So you can check your company's intranet site, you can speak with the HR team, you can see how other people in the workforce might be working flexibly. Number 2 is have a plan. So particularly when it comes to flexible working, work out how it's going to work for your team, for your customers, and then for you. Number 3 is to have the conversation. So make sure these conversations aren't done in an ad hoc setting, that you actually book a meeting. And last but not least, go to the work180.com platform where you can actually see what employer benefits are very transparently, and even use those to compare to your own employer's benefits.
All right, Gemma Lloyd, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.